DreAllDay.com.
Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Let's talk vibration and energy. This is something that I've talked about many times before. I've even written about in my books. And almost every personal development, author, speaker, coach, trainer, program you can take in, we all say the same thing, that energy is a huge part of creating success and even just happiness and fulfillment in life. Not even success like anything you can measure by dollars or stats or anything like that, but just success and fulfillment and happiness. And when you're on a certain level of energy, you just feel good. Even if everything in your life is not right, and nobody's life is perfect, even if everything in your life is not going exactly as you want it to go, when your energy is in the right place, you can still feel good on a moment-to-moment, day-to-day basis. But I like to say, actually, first of all, I'll tell you what, one of my favorite authors is a guy by the name of Paul Arden. He's passed away now. He passed away maybe over a decade ago. But when I was a freshman in college, I went to the bookstore and found one of his books. It's called "It's Not How Good You Are, It's How Good You Want to Be." And you should go find this book. It's not even digital. Last I checked, you can't even get a digital version. You can only get the physical version. But it's the kind of book that you want the physical version because it has like a lot of visuals in it. And it's not a long book. So even those of you who don't read books, you can read this one. You don't read books, you can read this one. But anyway, in that book, he says energy is 85% of the job. What I like to say is I think he was underestimating. I think energy is closer to like 95% of the job in life. If you want to be successful, your energy has to be up and it has to stay up. It is one of the biggest parts of creating success in life. And just this week, from when I'm recording this, I was just at the funnel hacking conference, ClickFunnels conference in Orlando. And Tony Robbins is a guy who often speaks at the conference. So he spoke the last day of the conference, and you know, Tony, any of y'all who knows Tony stuff, he'll talk for like 7 hours, which he literally did. And one of the things that he talked about was something that he talks about all the time. It's not a new concept period, and it's also not new from Tony. But any of you who's into personal development or just any level of learning, you know that sometimes you can hear the same thing from the same person more than once, but then the second, third, eighth time you hear it, you might get something from it that you didn't get the previous times that you listened to it. This is why we have no spaced repetition, and repetition is the mother of learning. Any of you ever heard that saying? And anyway, Tony was talking about energy. He was talking about state management. Any of you who's ever been to any Tony's events or anywhere he speaks, y'all know he does this all the time with the state thing. So he had us do this exercise. And the ClickFunnels conference is like 3,000 people in the room. And this is the last day. So he has to do this exercise. He's like, all right, walk up to a bunch of people for a minute. Just walk around the people around you where you're sitting. Stand up, and everybody walks around and shake their hand as if you're not really interested in them. And everybody did it. And you know how you shake somebody's hand when you don't really care about them, but you're just doing it to be polite. So we did that. Then he said, all right, now I want you to shake somebody's hand as if. Then we sat down. And he talked about, can you see the physiology in that? The way your body is, the way your eyes are, the way your energy is when you're not really interested in the person. Then he said, all right, now go shake everybody's hand as if you want to sell them, like you want to sell them something. Like you really are excited to meet them, and you want them to be excited to meet you because you know that they are probably about to buy like the most expensive thing that you sell, the highest value offer you have. I don't remember if that's exactly what he said, but it was something in that direction. So now shake their hand like that. So he went around and did that. And it was a lot different energy that we brought to that handshake when we did that. And everybody's laughing and having fun because this is all make-believe. We're pretending. Then he says, all right, y'all see the physiology and the energy when you do it that way? Everybody's like, yeah. He's like, all right, now this time I want you to shake everybody's hand as if they're like a long-lost cousin or best friend, and you haven't seen them in 20 years, and you just realize that it's them, and now you're seeing them. Now shake the person's hand that way. And then we all did that, and that part was the most fun. Because now, I wish I had a camera just like panning above to see everybody doing this, because it's really funny. Just me being in the experience is really fun, because we're all just running around hugging each other and saying, oh my God, I haven't seen you in a long time. And this is people that you don't even know. So we went and did that. And then Tony said, all right, well, everybody, can you see the difference in the energy in the way that you did each one of those handshakes? And then he said, well, do you see how easily just because I told you to do it is not like those things are what you were really feeling about any of these people. But just because I told you to do it, how easily you could just turn that energy on and off, and how easily you could turn your energy up and down. And everybody's like, yeah, which made sense. And then he said, well, can you understand that this is something that you can make into a habit? You could actually train yourself to have any one of these levels of energy all the time. And you don't need anybody to tell you to do it. You can just train yourself to be at this level of energy. And then he said, well, can you tell that when you're at that last level, like when you go see somebody, that your long lost cousin or something like that, and you're all excited to see them, he said, do you make different decisions when you're in that type of energy than when you're in the low energy, like the person that you're not interested in? Do you think other people respond to you differently? And this is me kind of, he talked about a little of this, but this is me, and I'm mixing in a little bit of what he said and what I'm saying at the same time in this. But do you think people respond to you differently when you have that energy of long lost cousin versus I'm not interested? Do you think you get different energy from people based on the way you show up? If you showed up differently that way as opposed to not interested in another person? Do you think if you were like that all the time, that the trajectory of your life, and this is me talking now, would change in a lot of different ways if you just had a different baseline state of energy? And that made a lot of sense. Now, again, I'm the guy who I've written in my books that energy is 95% of the job in life. I've done podcast episodes on this. I talk about this in my speeches. So this is not a new concept to me. I read about it 20 years ago. But at the same time, if we really think about it, you go to an event, any kind of event, Tony Robbins, whoever, and there's you get excited, you get inspired, you get motivated by what you hear, and you feel good about it in a moment. You take notes on it. And listen, I just got back from ClickFunnels last night from when I'm recording this. And yeah, it's fresh on my mind because I took the notes and all that stuff. But even if we get excited about stuff like that and we say we're going to do this and that, how long does that energy usually last before we let it wear off? And that happens to all of us. Why? Because we're human, and we just get into this state of inertia where if we're not doing something to really reinforce a certain idea or something that we heard or even something that excited us, and we don't do things consciously to reinforce what we got, then eventually that energy just falls off and we regress to the mean, as they say. We just go back to our normal level of our normal state of energy, whatever it was before, whatever that outside force was, before that stimulus came in. So the idea that I want to get to you in this conversation here is keeping your energy up and maintaining a high vibration. And this is something that if any of you have ever read Napoleon Hill or Bob Proctor, who's the guy who was in The Secret, they talk about this. They talk about the vibration of energy. Actually, Bob Proctor talks about it more than anybody that I've heard. He talks about this vibration. Every human being, we are all vibrating on a certain level. And all energy is a vibration. Like the earth is actually literally vibrating at all times. Us as human beings, we are vibrating. So whenever you hear someone talking about being on a certain wavelength, that's a certain electrical current that is traveling out of us. Like everything that we do, our heartbeat and our energy, if you're alive, there's an electrical current going through you and coming out of you. When you have a thought, when you think something, there's an electrical wave that goes out of you. You can't see it, it's imperceptible by the eye, but there's an electrical wave of energy that comes out of you. So then I'll connect this so you understand it. And I see chickens crossing the road right now. I'm in Overtown, so y'all know the little riddle, why did the chicken cross the road? There's 3 chickens crossing the road in front of me right now. But anyway, any of you ever heard the saying that people on the same wavelength? What does that mean? People on the same wavelength, usually we mean it in like a metaphorical sense, but it's actually it's a literal tangible thing. Now, people on the same wavelength, that means that the electrical current coming out of my brain and the electrical current coming out of your brain are the same at the exact same time. So that's like if me and you, let's say it's 20 of us in the room together, and then I think something and you think something, and then we just look at each other. We make eye contact. We don't even say anything, but we make eye contact right there in that moment. Why is that? It's because the thing that I'm thinking and the thing that you're thinking are the same thing. And the reason why I look at you and you look at me, even though we didn't say anything, is because the electrical current that came out of my brain and the electrical current that came out of your brain are exactly the same. And that's why you instinctively look at me and I instinctively look at you, even though we didn't talk. That's what it means when you say people are on the same wavelength, is that vibration of energy that's coming out of us. So what does all this mean? I could do a whole course on this shit. But what all this means is this, is that if you maintain a high vibration, and this is the other thing, when people are feeling very energetic and excited and inspired and motivated, what kind of vibration does that, even if you don't know anything about this, even if you never heard any of this concept that I'm talking about right now, this is all brand new to you. If I just ask you the question, what kind of vibration is that when someone is feeling excited, motivated, and inspired? I think most of you would say a high vibration. And what is it like when somebody's feeling low and sad or angry, or somebody's dead? If somebody has a dead body, what kind of vibration is that? What's coming out of them? Nothing. It's a very low vibration. So a very high vibration is just high energy, is excitement, it's anticipation, it's inspiration, it's motivation. That kind of vibration, that kind of energy, first of all, it attracts other people to you. When someone's in a high vibration, they have a certain type of energy that magnifies other people towards them. The other thing is, when you have a high vibration, you also magnify good things, the kind of things that you want that are also on a high vibration, you bring them towards you. Now, here's the thing, and I just read this in a book by the man by the name of Myron Golden, who was also at the ClickFunnels conference. He's a speaker. He does a whole lot of stuff on business, sales, personal development, all this stuff. And one of the things that Myron Golden said in one of his books is called Boss Moves. Y'all should read that book too, Boss, B-O-S-S Moves. And one of the things that he said was that wealth, which many people conflate wealth with money. Wealth is a lot more than money, but let's just say, because he was talking about money, but wealth is just a piece of money. But he said wealth is on a high vibration. Just being wealthy in itself, wealth itself is on a high vibration, high vibrating frequency. So if you want to have wealth in your life, you want to attract wealth in your life, you can't attract wealth. You can't do that. Shit. Just missed my turn. He said you can't attract wealth into your life, a high vibration thing, by having a low vibration. So you want to have high vibration things in your life, then that means that you must vibrate on a high frequency. And so if you're walking around with a low vibration, such as negative expectancy, you're worried, you're anxious, you're sad, you're fearful, you're angry, you're just being negative, period, whatever you consider to be negative, if you have that kind of energy all the time, how are you going to attract a high vibration thing into your life? Well, this is a trick question. The answer is you won't. So, and this is something that also, a guy that I've always considered a virtual mentor. I did an episode on my podcast about this guy being a virtual mentor of mine. This guy named Puff Daddy, which many of y'all probably don't even know him like that right now. He's not as active in the culture now, at least in music, as he was back in the days when I was in my teens or 20s. But anyway, one of the things that Puff always talked about, whenever I would see like his videos and he'd be talking and stuff, he would always talk about that. He would say, I need to have a high vibration. I need high vibration people around me. I need people that have the right kind of energy. He talks about that kind of stuff all the time. And the point that I want to get to all of you is really being cognizant and conscious of your energy, being conscious of your vibration and what kind of energy you're putting out at all times. And when you raise your frequency and raise your energy, then you're going to attract higher frequency, higher energy things into your life, higher frequency, higher energy people into your life. And when you have that energy, you will attract the kind of things that you want in life. Most of us want things like success. We want money, we want wealth, we want power, we want happiness. All of those things are all on a high vibration frequency. So if you want those things, you must get in line with the things that you want. I mean, everybody is familiar with, and people always talk about or ask about the law of attraction. I talked about this in episode 1880 in my podcast. The law of attraction is what? Everybody knows it. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with, right? But understand that the law of attraction, first of all, is not limited to a certain number, and is also not limited to people. The law of attraction is you will attract into your life anything that's on the same vibration that you're on. That's the real law of attraction. It is not just about people, and it's definitely not just about a number. So think about the things that you're bringing into your life, whether it's things that you want or the things that you don't want. Understand that your vibration, your frequency has attracted those things to you. And if you want those things to change, all you have to do is change your vibration and change your frequency. And you can do this at a snap of a finger, just like Tony Robbins demonstrated to us. Well, he had us demonstrate to him and demonstrate to ourselves that any of us can do this at any given time. So with all that being said, if you haven't gotten your free copy of my new book called The Third Day, you can get that by going to the link down below in the description. It is thirddaybook.com. The book is free. You're just going to help me out by covering the shipping. I've already paid for your book. And the other thing is, if you want to come to my live event, if you like these little videos where I'm just kind of talking off the cuff and just giving you some game, imagine if I gave you 2 days of game and I actually got to plan it out exactly how I'm going to talk and exactly what I want to give you. I can give you this much game for 2 consecutive days straight. Nobody else can do this. All right, not Tony Robbins, not Russell Brunson. Nobody else can do it on a level that I can do it in the way that I'm going to do it. So my next live event is at workonyourgame.live is the website. Workonyourgame.live. That's in, as of this recording, is in January of 2022. Leadership and communication 2-day event. Leadership day 1, communication day 2. Go to workonyourgame.live. Get your ticket to that event. It is down here in Miami. And I got a text message line where I send out a daily motivation text every morning. If you want to get that daily motivation text, just hit me at 305-384-6894. Text me at that number, 305-384-6894. It's down below in the description as well. Work on your game. Dre all day.